Okay. Please stand if you're able. Welcome to the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club. It's great to see you all on this kind of the first day of winter, if you will, a little blustery day. We will go ahead and get started with singing America the Beautiful. Led by, oh, you're gonna lead.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grace, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruit and plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crowned with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We are going to have a moment of silence for a community legend who passed recently. Sandy Boyd, as you all know, helped start the Community Foundation, so I feel like there are a lot of ties to our Rotary Club. So if you'll join me in a moment of silence. You may be seated. Okay, we are ready to welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians, and greeter HD Hoover is here to take the lead on that. HD.
Thank you. Those of you who have guests, would you please come up and introduce them? Since you're here, Usha, I'll let you begin.
Thank you, HD. My name is Usha Balakrishnan, and my guest, you have to rise. My guest is Aishwarya Lakshmi Tilagaraj. She's new to our area, landed just before the pandemic, so didn't get to meet a lot of people. She has 2 young children. She's a perfusionist by training, who's very interested in community volunteering. She was appointed as a Karta Fellow in my nonprofit. She's now a singer on our newly formed Iowa Desi Community Chorus. And that's a partnership with the local India Association for the Iowa City area. Aishwarya is also interested because of her technical background and training in the Kerber Rotary Heart Safe Community Initiative. And she's very interested in the AEDs as well as community education around AEDs. Obviously, as a woman of color, she's very interested in the work of John Culsha's newly formed Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Welcome, Aishwarya.
I have one guest, Katie Peck. Katie's the assistant manager at the Hope Lodge, has joined us just in the last, been at least a month, hasn't it? Yeah, good. So anyway, native of Clinton, Iowa, and a University of Iowa graduate. Thank you.
LaDonna Wickland. I have a returning guest today, Mark Hall. And Mark is very, very interested in ending Alzheimer's disease, both personally because he's had members of his family with it, but also because he is the walk manager for Alzheimer's.
Welcome and thanks for attending.
Thank you, HD. We will now roll into Rotary related announcements. So if you've got one of those, I know we've got a few here. Please make your way up to the front. I'll pinch hit for Joe Hughes real quick and remind people that there still are a couple slots tomorrow and Saturday for bell ringing for the Salvation Army. You can either email Joe or look in our newsletter for the link to sign up for that. Also, a little bit of fun, vintage Rotary gear Maybe you noticed it when you walked in and signed in, maybe you didn't, but Ken Kenzie has donated some cool golf stuff from his days as a Rotarian who can swing the golf clubs pretty darn well. So check that out on your way out. It's first come, first serve, but you should all go home with a memento from today's meeting. I would encourage that. I know Vern would encourage it too, so he doesn't have to lug it around. Quick reminder, the Rotary survey is coming early next year. Just keep your mind on that because we want to collect as much feedback as possible from all of you. Also, no meeting next week, but Richard's going to come and explain what we're going to do on the 29th. And then I just have to give a shout out to Kelly Drown's daughter, Berlin, who brought the house down last night at the Regina Christmas concert with a solo and just crushed it. So you should be very proud, Kelly. John Gross, come on up.
Thank you very much for the Salvation Army introduction. I'll be collecting at the door at the end of the meeting for the Toys for Tots program. So far, our donations are just about at the level from before the pandemic. People have been most generous, and we really appreciate it. So this will be the last meeting that I gather money for Toys for Tots, and for all of you that have given so far, thank you so much.
Yes, and good afternoon. I was asked to encourage everybody to attend our meeting on the 29th, not next week, but the following week. I'm told traditionally it hasn't been that well attended just because of people's vacation plans. But if you are in town, we're going to have our first Rotary session at Big Grove. Namely, we've got a karaoke DJ who is, in my opinion, one of the finest. And he will be here to take requests from Rotarians in terms of rendering your karaoke songs. In the Rotary tradition, you're supposed to sing a song about your personal identity or your identity with Rotary, but you can sing about anything you want. And we're going to dedicate the tip jar to eradicating polio. So in addition to whatever tips that you might choose to put in the karaoke jar, those will all go to Rotary and or to the eradication of polio. And I guess the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation will double those. And I think Ryan is going to make the traditional $10 contribution. So I hope everybody comes, and you're most welcome to come. Even if we don't have a lot of singers, I'm told that Devin and Ryan will fill the slot with their excellent selections, and I will throw in a few as well. So in any event, I hope to see everybody on the 29th. Thank you.
Uh-oh, I hear some scheming. We're gonna, yes, we're gonna do one more announcement with Usha.
So thanks to Richard Campagna, we had our first karaoke, which was Bollywood karaoke at the Iowa City Public Library. I'd never participated in it. So our Iowa Desi Chorus had it last Saturday, and it was so much fun. On December 29th, I've invited the chorus members to come here. They're untrained singers, but they want to learn the Smile song. So it'll be kind of fun. So my announcement, I need a couple of people now, and then another person after the announcement. So I have with me Preksha Kedilaya, who's a third-year University of Iowa Biomedical Sciences major on the pre-PA track, and also Niyati Deshpande, who's a second-year Educational Studies and Human Relations and Musical Theater double major at the University of Iowa. They belong to a group called the Iowa Agni A Cappella Group. Does anybody know about the Iowa Agni a cappella group at the University of Iowa? Okay, this is great because they don't know anything about Rotary either. Iowa Agni has been selected in a campus, like all USA campus competition in California, which for the first time they'll be practicing and presenting their group in person. So through my nonprofit, I've sponsored their registration fees and other miscellaneous expenses. I want them to win. So in the South Asian diaspora community, the a cappella group from a university that is very, very well known, and I'm sure Iowa Agni people will agree, is the University of Pennsylvania's Pen Masala. Okay, if you just do Pen Masala in the YouTube, you'll find it. So it's actually like the name is for pan masala. Pan is the after dinner thing that you eat with betel nut leaves. So Pen Masala is sort of the world's ruler right now. I would like it to become Iowa Agni. Can you give a round of applause to these young girls? So they wanted to talk a little bit about their group, their goals, how they practice, where they practice, and then they're going to sing Jingle Bells. Devin, they're going to sing Jingle Bells with me and our beloved Mayor of Iowa City, Bruce Teague. Okay, okay, come on, you can make them.
Hi, my name is Niyati, and I am creative director for Iowa Agni, and this is Preksha. She's our president. And yeah, as Usha said, we are the multicultural a cappella group at Iowa, one of the most diverse student organizations we have on campus. And we work with a lot of different student orgs to put on performances of all different kinds across campus. And we're really looking to expand to the local community and nationally as well. So we've been fundraising to attend this competition at Berkeley. And yeah, I don't know how else to say. Yeah, actually. So in the past for Agni, we have, I think we've existed for, I think around like 10 years. And we've only attended one competition prior to this. And it was not what they call a bid comp. It's like not an official national competition. So this is the first time that Agni has been accepted into a bid comp. But we've actually been accepted into 5 out of the 6. So this is a really big accomplishment for us. We practice at Boxman Music Building, and we practice about like 4 to 6 hours a week. And we have 16 members on our team. So that's why sending 16 people to Berkeley, California is kind of hefty of a price. So yeah, if anyone is willing to donate or help a good cause, we would really appreciate it. That's all. That's it.
Thank you so much for coming. May I ask Bruce to come over? Can somebody videotape this performance? Because it might be the first one. If you want to, just sit there. Come on. Nobody's coming here. Okay.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. All the fun is to ride in one horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. All the fun is to ride in one horse open sleigh. Into the snow, in one horse open sleigh. For the two we go. All the way. Yes, there is fun. What fun it is to ride and see something that oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. All the fun is to ride on the open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. All the fun is to ride on the open sleigh. Thank you very much. That was awesome. Well done. And to our guests, we know we kind of put you on the spot there. Thank you very much. You handled that very well. Okay, it is time to move on to today's speaker. And to introduce, I'm going to welcome Jim Lane up to the podium.
Our speaker today is Ali Eversole. Ali's the senior manager at the Hope Lodge. Hope Lodge we just found out we're having our 15th anniversary next year. From one of the more secretive groups in the area, and not because we try to be secret, but people just don't know much about it. And it does a great deal of work for folks. It's home away for home for folks who come here to Iowa City to receive treatment for cancer. Ali is been with us about 4 months now and got on board. She's a Clinton native. We got 2 Clinton folks over here. So they're going to take over and run this place. She's also a University of Iowa grad. And so we look forward to having her and lead us at the Hope Lodge. It's a great organization and a great place to come from. So let's let her go.
I was told I would be provided a clicker. Thank you. All right, yes, as Jim stated, I'm Ali Eversole. I'm the senior manager of the Russell and Ann Jardine American Cancer Society Hope Lodge. I am here today to present on giving hope a home, the best kept secret in Iowa City, as Jim stated. So just a little base level knowledge, the Hope Lodge is a free lodging facility for people who are not around the Iowa City area, but are receiving treatments at one of our hospitals, UIHC being the most prominent one. It's a 100% free place for them to stay, eat, live, exist while they're having treatment. So it's one less thing for them to have to worry about while they're undergoing one of the most difficult times in their lives. So just a little background on Hope Lodge in general. The first Hope Lodge opened in Charleston, South Carolina in 1970. We've now got 30 Hope Lodges across the United States and 1 in Puerto Rico. On a yearly basis, Hope Lodges across the country provide around 500,000 nights of lodging, serve 29,000 patients, and save those guests around $55 million in lodging costs. And the specific lodge we're talking about today is the one in Iowa City. Within our community, the most important aspect is the supportive environment that we provide to our patients and their caregivers. Nothing can top having other individuals to be able to relate what you are going through with. On top of that, we are incredibly close to the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, the VA, and other hospitals in the area. We're located on Hawkins Drive in the Carver Hawkeye parking lot, right behind the Ronald McDonald House. Has anybody ever heard of the Hope Lodge before, seen it, been there? Great, so we got a few people, so hopefully we spread that a little more here today. We've got 28 guest rooms, each set up basically as a hotel room with 2 queen beds and an ensuite bathroom, 4 fully equipped kitchens, numerous lounge and gathering areas, covered and heated porches, free laundry facilities, a library, computer room, and incredible staff and volunteers. So truly, we want our guests to have the opportunity to exist exactly as they would at home at our lodge. Our lodge opened in 2008, and as Jim mentioned, we're coming up on our 15-year anniversary here in September of 2023. At our lodge specifically, we have thus far provided 8,532 nights of lodging, served 509 guests, and saved those guests $1,535,760 throughout this year alone. That monetary value is calculated at a $180 per diem rate for Iowa City hotels. And this does not take into consideration transportation, food, or other expenses. And we try to provide as many of those other things to our guests as well. I always like to provide some insight as to the requirements that go around staying at the lodge, as not many people are aware of exactly what goes into it. So to stay at the Iowa City Hope Lodge, we must receive a request form from a member of the guest's healthcare team.
This can be a social worker, nurse, physician, or really anyone over at the hospital. The guest must be in active cancer treatment and have a home address that is 40 miles or further from the treatment center. So for us, that would be the university, the Veterans Association, those kinds of things. And we also require caregivers to stay at the lodge with our guests. A caregiver can be a family member, friend, anyone that the guest would consider somebody who's able to support them throughout their cancer treatment. If it's not an option, we do have an exemption form that can be filled out by the healthcare team. So we want to be able to provide this support to as many people as possible. Patients and caregivers must be over 18 years of age and able to show proof of COVID vaccination or proof of a negative COVID test. And then on this slide, we've got a brief glimpse at what our request form looks like. All right, so now that I have explained what the lodge is, I would like to show you all what it looks like. So we've got a brief virtual tour here so everybody can see what the inside of our lodge looks like. There's the jazzy music. All right, I can talk about the lodge all day, try to explain it as best as I can, but it's really hard to imagine what it is and know exactly what I'm talking about without seeing it. So I hope that was a little helpful there. So I have given you all of the information about what the Hope Lodge is. So now I'm going to move on to the most important part, which is who is the Hope Lodge? This is Jackie. She is from Eastern Iowa, about 55 miles from Iowa City. Jackie is a frequent flyer with us at the Hope Lodge. She has now had 3 different types of cancer 4 separate times. Despite this, every time she stays at the lodge with us, she prepares some sort of huge meal for all of our guests, caregivers, and team members. She has one of the most giving hearts of any person that I have ever met. This is Steve and Lydia. They are from Southeast Iowa, about 115 miles from Iowa City. Steve is the patient and Lydia is his daughter who goes to the University of Iowa. Throughout his stay, Lydia frequently visited Steve, and it was heartwarming to witness their loving father-daughter relationship. Outside of his cancer diagnosis, Steve runs the Catch a Dream Foundation, where he takes young children on hunting and fishing trips. He maintained this throughout his cancer diagnosis, so even though he is going through an incredibly difficult time himself, he continues to give back to others every single day. This is the Olivarez family. They are from Northwest Illinois, about 65 miles from Iowa City. Neither the patient nor the caregiver spoke much English, so their granddaughter uprooted her life for the duration of their stay to be at the lodge with them. She acted as their translator, emotional support. She explained the lodge, talked to the doctors, took them to their appointments, and supported them throughout the entirety of her grandpa's cancer treatment. This is Ron and Mavis. They are from North Central Iowa, about 210 miles from the Iowa City area. They have been married for way longer than I have even been alive. And Ron was the patient and Mavis was the caregiver. And numerous times throughout their stay, she said that she has been with him through thick and thin, everything else in life. So this was just one more thing. They were together 24/7. Their loving relationship was my favorite part about them. I loved getting to talk to them every day. And lastly, this is Kayla. Kayla is from North Central Iowa, about 165 miles from Iowa City. Kayla's in her early 20s and received her cancer diagnosis in the middle of last year. She spoke at our Hope Lodge Heroes Kickoff event, which was a fundraiser campaign that ran through the month of November, and she spoke at that back in October. I wanted to include a portion of her speech here where she discusses the community that she was able to find at Hope Lodge.
So before I ever got to stay at the Hope Lodge, my grandma was there for 3 weeks, and through her stories, she made it kind of clear that there was an age gap between me and the other people who were staying there, which isn't a problem at all, you know. I'm kind of shy, you know, I thought I would make small talk with people there, but I wouldn't really make a connection. I was very wrong, however. I actually had a very kind of like life-changing experience. So when I went through my first year of chemo, you know, I didn't really have anybody to connect with. There were a few people, but you know, it was just kind of small talk. It wasn't anything major. I remember telling my therapist a few times that my experience just didn't feel real or valid. Or it felt more like, you know, I was just dealing with a cold and that it wasn't very important. And maybe other people didn't want to listen to my story because they couldn't relate and therefore would have nothing to say to me. But that was not at all what I experienced at the Hope Lodge. Everybody is so willing to listen to what you have to say. They are so excited to tell you about their story, no matter, you know, how sad or painful you think it could have been. And they're just, at the end of the day, there was no age gap. It was one big community.
So I always like to just give people the opportunity when I'm talking about Hope Lodge to hear from one of our guests directly, because I've never been in their position. And so they're able to explain it from a completely different perspective than what I do. So I hope that was able to provide everybody some insight into what they truly are going through on a day-to-day basis. Alrighty, now we will move on to our lovely volunteer program. The Hope Lodge volunteer program is the way in which we are able to run at as successful of a capacity as possible. Our volunteer program closed when our building closed during COVID. The building reopened last year, and we just recently, within the last couple of months, got our volunteer program back up and running. So it's been a slow process, but we are incredibly excited to be getting volunteers back into our building. Our volunteers do basically everything that you would do around your house for us at the lodge, because as I said, it wants to be a home away from home. So we've got that same upkeep, that same maintenance. I now want to touch on a few of the volunteer experiences that have occurred lately at our lodge. We had a group called Pack the Bus come in. They collected donations at grocery stores in their area and brought them down to Iowa City. They truly packed our storage room from top to bottom. It is like a Tetris game in there right now. But this is a yearly occurrence. They are incredible people. It was really exciting to get to work with them, and it was a really exciting day at the lodge when they came. This is the Kewanee, Illinois Relay for Life team. They did something very similar to Pack the Bus. Throughout the year, they collect donations in their community, and when they have a large enough load, they make a trip to drop everything off to us. They were very sweet people. It was awesome to have our guests excited they were there and to add even more stuff to our very jam-packed Tetris room. Our most popular volunteer opportunity is groups coming in and providing our guests with a meal. Groups come into the building either with a pre-made meal or they prepare the meal at the lodge with our guests. They then stick around to enjoy the food, spend some time with our guests. make some connections, and everyone at the lodge loves it when this happens because they're able to kind of forget about their cancer diagnosis for a while and just exist with some other people in the community. We have seen a lot of community kindness around this holiday season at the Hope Lodge. Members of various communities across Iowa have sent current or previous guests to our lodge with loads of donations. The support these small communities give to their members is truly magical to witness. And I know magic sounds like a very cliche word, but the Hope Lodge really is, it's surrounded by magic. You really feel it every time you're in that building. Alrighty. So to begin wrapping up, we do have a few ties to the Rotary program at the Iowa City Hope Lodge. I know that many of you may be familiar with Russ and Ann Jardine. They were the lead donors for the groundbreaking of our building, and they were incredibly influential during the startup and maintenance process of the lodge in general. It's even claimed that Ann called us her favorite project that her and Russ had ever done. And then we also have a Rotary room that was sponsored by Coralville and Iowa City Rotarians. This is the plaque shown there. It's right outside of one of the guest room doors. So our guests know that Rotary is a supporter of Hope Lodge every time somebody stays in that room. Usually after providing information about Hope Lodge, we frequently get questions, what can I do? What do you need? The main goal of this was to spread information about the Hope Lodge because, as I stated earlier, we seem to be the best kept secret. So I really just wanted to get the word out about what we are and what we do. However, I do have our needs list. If anyone's curious, I'm happy to provide any information anybody may be wondering about. And we've got some informational packets as well that we'll have at the end of the meeting to hand out to anybody who would like them. So now the table is open for any questions. If anybody is wondering anything or has a thought they would like to bring up. Correct. So we do operate on a wait list a large majority of the time. There are hot spots at the start of the week. It kind of filters out a little towards the end of the week just because people go home for the weekends. Treatments usually end on Fridays. But right now we are at a very high capacity, which is exciting because we're supporting as many people as possible. You know, right when we reopened, we were having a lot of shorter stays. So how it's laid out is 2 nights or less is considered a special accommodation. 3 nights or more is a primary stay. We were having a lot of shorter days when we first opened up, but a large majority of our stays are patients who live in a smaller town. They don't have a hospital that offers cancer treatment in their area. And so our stays can range anywhere from 1 night up to 8 weeks. We've had a large majority of our stays being those longer term ones recently from 6 to 8 weeks in length. Nope. So we are just a lodging facility and we're very upfront with that with our patients when they come to check in. They're fully aware of that. Since we're in such close proximity to the hospital, any healthcare needs that they would receive would just come directly from their healthcare team at the hospital. So we're basically just a free hotel is the outline of Hope Lodge. We are donation funded primarily. We do get some general funding money from the government just because the American Cancer Society also does a huge amount of cancer research in the country, but we are primarily donor based. Yeah. Nope. So there are 30 Hope Lodges across the United States, and then we've also got one in Puerto Rico, and we're in the process of opening numerous more across the country as well. There's usually one in the main hubs where all of the larger hospitals are throughout the country. So like there's one in Rochester for Mayo, there's one in Omaha. They're spread out pretty widely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We do allow for additional healthcare to come into the lodge and provide people those supports. And that's also the reason that we really urge our patients to have caregivers with them so that they're able to get those supports directly at hand while they're staying with us. Yeah. Yeah, so since the university is a research hospital, we have people that come from literally everywhere. Within the last couple of months, we actually had a woman staying with us from Taiwan. We had another one from Thailand, everywhere across the country. We're primarily in the Iowa area, but yeah, we have people come from literally everywhere across the world. Yeah. We've got a little bit of a variety of both. A lot of our donations are typically from past guests who leave us in their retirement funds. We've got large breadths of donations from people across the country, but we also have a lot of individual donors that provide to us on a daily basis as well.
Let me help a little bit. I've been around it a little longer than her 3 or 4 months. So we have an endowment. Russ and Ann, in addition to, they initially gave 2 million. Then they gave another 1 million when we had groundbreaking. Then another 1 million when we opened the place. And that is part of the endowment that we have. There's usually a campaign. We just had a Heroes campaign as Ally talked about. But the endowment is, the endowment's probably $3 to $4 million that we take money from. It's still not enough. And anything not funded through endowments or donations is backed up by the American Cancer Society. Now, they want to get as much as they want to get as much towards research as they can. So the Hope Lodge taking money, that's why they want us raising funds and that sort of stuff. But they back up all these Hope Lodges, 30. And we're probably in the upper 20% of ones who pay their own way. One year we paid it all through donations, endowments, and that sort of stuff. So, but we can always use money. You bet. I got asked to serve on the fundraising committee. Bill O'Lean asked me. He said, Bill, I'm too busy. He said, that's why I want you. I want busy people. They get things done. So anyway, that's a little bit how I got started. Then I became, once we got it going, I became chairman of the advisory board, which now is chaired by my wife. So we're into this. So it's a real passion for us. And when you get there and you see and you hear from guests, we usually come to our advisory board meeting just to tell us what's going on. And it's really very moving. I mean, and they used to have the map with all the pins and that sort of stuff. And they come from all over the world. And it really serves a great purpose. Hope that helps. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Yes, so we receive, yeah. So he was asking how we get our guests connected with activities in the community and events going on in the community so that they're able to have distractions from their cancer treatment. We have a lot of tickets that are already donated. We get tickets donated. Jim and Catherine give us ones for Hampshire pretty frequently, and they're able to do that, which they love. We get tickets for sports events, which our guests greatly appreciate. We always have postings around the lodge of things going on around the lodge. And so we try to keep them, since they're coming from out of town as well, we try to keep them as connected with what's going on within the area as best as possible so that they're able to know what's happening. And we try to get them those tickets as best as we can so that they also have the opportunity to do things. So we have postings and various things along those lines so that they're always aware of things going on in the community. Yeah. We do not have any children. So this is a lodging facility for anybody who is over the age of 18. The Ronald McDonald House is a great opportunity for children to have lodging while they're undergoing their treatment, but we provide for anybody 18 and older. Yeah. So I graduated from the University of Iowa with a bachelor's in psychology, minors in social work and human relations, and a certificate in resilience and trauma-informed perspectives. So I really get to use my social work hat when I'm at this job, which is incredible. Directly before this, I was a crisis intervention specialist at Foundation 2 in Cedar Rapids. So I answered for the mental health hotlines for the Iowa area and the national ones as well. And then I've also worked in administration at a retirement community before. I guess my knowledge comes a little from fake it till you make it. And then also the senior manager directly before me was awesome. I worked with her at the retirement community that I worked at, that she kind of recruited me from for the assistant manager job. And then I fell into the senior manager job. So she was training me for the role right off the bat, provided me everything I could need to be successful, which was awesome. Yeah. Okay. You know, I like to be involved in the community as best as possible. So 100% absolutely. Yeah. Yes, that is one. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I know that we had an awesome volunteer community, but then we closed during COVID. I know COVID made things difficult for everybody everywhere. And we just started the volunteer program up again in September. And so we've been trying to get the word out there as best as we can, but it's only been a couple of months. And right now we've got 2 housekeepers. They are incredible ladies, but they clean that lodge top to bottom every day by themselves. So volunteers are definitely a top priority for us right now. Yes, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a bunch of folders with information about getting signed up for our volunteer opportunities. Within it, there's a barcode in there that you can scan. There's our website listed. So we will definitely get you hooked up with one of those before you leave today. All right.
Thank you so much, Allie. That was fantastic and informational. And yeah, you're right. A lot of that's happening right under our noses. And it's great to hear about those things in our community. On behalf of your talk, and you are hitting the door, aren't you? You're out of here. On to, well, I think, yeah, hopefully there, are great things you're eager to get to, but we will be donating to the Polio Plus campaign on your behalf. So thank you for your talk. We will put 70 new polio vaccinations out into the world thanks to your time here today. So what a great meeting. We will close out and hopefully bring up the 4-way test and recite that and be on our way. Oh, I need to do it. I've got the clicker. Okay. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build?
Be beneficial to all concerned.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a great week, everybody. See you on the 29th.